Okay, so my name is Peter Horwath. I am an associate trainer with VR Movement. I'm also a senior producer at a company called Avalanche. We make video games for PC, Xbox, PlayStation 5, and consoles like that. At one of the companies I worked, we had several projects running. Now something is wrong. Let's see. Here we go. So we had several projects running in parallel, and some of the projects were, as I like to call them, burning, not very successful, people being burnt out, not being very happy. And while other projects as this company went pretty well and people were quite happy with the outcomes. So I want to dive into this topic and analyze a little bit kind of what the difference between these projects are. I worked on both of these that I'm going to talk about, so I have in-depth knowledge. And since it's video games we're talking about, I want to visualize it for you. So this is the image we're going to bring with us when we talk about the burning project. And the reason I chose this image is we had a craft meeting where a bunch of producers were talking about production stuff, and people asked me how I was feeling about the new project, and I said I was super happy and enjoying life right now. And I asked other people how they were doing who was on this burning project, and they sent me pictures like this, people burning. So I thought it was appropriate to choose a picture like this. And this picture will represent the happy project. So let's see what's going on. So up in the corner, in the right corner, you'll see the Burning Man, so you know which project we're talking about. When this project started, they chose a couple of things. They chose to have many levels of managers, and they selected to have a wide array of directors: animation director, game director, 2 tech directors, 2 art directors, level design directors, just so many directors. And for people who haven't been in the games industry, this is a little bit compared to something in Sweden called styrgrupp. Maybe you can call it a control group, kind of a group of people who occasionally look at the product and make a bunch of decisions. They also had a heavy focus on a plan. Right from the outset, it was like, we have to reach production at this date and have to do all sorts of planning and want to focus heavily on the plan. Now, the problem with this was that we didn't quite know what kind of game we wanted to do. It was a brand new idea, a new concept, a new IP. So we didn't know what the gameplay was, and it was very hard to find inspiration since it was a new mechanic. It wasn't like if you do a first-person shooter, you could look at a Battlefield game or a Call of Duty game and get inspired. In this case, we didn't have that. So it was something new, but still we just focused a lot on the plan. So the producers in this project invested a lot of effort into control, like creating long schedules, heavy, deep milestone planning. And once these plans didn't pan out as they expected, they started doing weekly planning. Even maybe you've been at companies who do weekly planning. This is what we started to do in this project. And there was also this unwillingness to change. And an example of this is the first point. We realized pretty quickly that the many levels of hierarchies, like with the big bunch of directors, and we also had a group of product owners for each team. So we had several levels of creative people taking decisions. We realized this really quickly, that this is a big problem for us because the vision is unclear and stuff like that. And we brought it up on a bunch of meetings, but nothing happened. They're 3 years into that project, and things are still the same. We still have the same amount of directors trying to understand what is the optimal way of communicating, instead of, maybe changing the setup to start with. So let's briefly look at what the consequences of this is. And I'm pretty sure many of you have seen this before. But since there were so many directors, there's a huge confusion among the team members, like what kind of a game are we doing? What should we focus on? What is most important at the moment? And one of the underlying problems here is that it's very hard to get a single voice from many directors. So the vision will be very fragmented. And talking about fragmented is when you focus on the plan instead of doing the fun. That means that in the plan, it said we should develop one of each of our features in a very quick manner and not think about the whole experience. So the game became very fragmented and it was a pretty boring experience. And after 2 years of doing this in this project, we had spent a lot of money. Not as much as Frederick's project in the beginning, but not far from it. The consequence of investing in all that control is if you do a weekly plan and something happens that you didn't predict, which is always the case, you are replanning, you're wasting time on replanning. And also it's kind of low morale, because you have this long going plan and you can't change, you learn something suddenly and you can't adapt to it, which is kind of, bad for morale. And of course, the unwillingness to change meant that problems never got solved at all. So let's look at project number 2, the happy project. We selected a few people to create a clear vision. In this project, it is super clear what the goals are, where we are heading, and what we need to do. We focus on fun. That's all we focus on. We don't create any plans. We have a backlog or a story map, and our product owners or game director, as we like to call him, selects from this list for each sprint. So we decide a couple of days before each sprint starts what we're going to work on based on what we've learned in the previous iteration of our game. We are trying to get everyone involved. The other producers and all the creative people on this project have a kind of a shared vision of we need to get people involved. We don't want to have a project where one or two people kind of decide everything. The more we get people involved, the more motivated they will be and the better product we will develop. So that's our focus. We're trying to get everyone involved. We do retrospects after every sprint. We listen to the team. We have one-to-ones where we're trying to find out if people are stressed or not. And as soon as people raise a flag, we immediately try to fix the problems. So let's see what happened. So in our game, it's pretty easy to understand what the goals are. And if you don't understand, you know who to ask. We don't have 9 directors to ask. We have 1 director to ask. So you always know where to turn if you don't understand the clear goals that we already have. The team is reaching excellent results. The game is we have only worked for 3 months on this project and it's already fun to do. Our game director is super happy about that. And people are talking in terms like, I'm not used to this. This is so rare that the game is fun so quickly into the project. It's strange how if you focus on fun, you get fun. The morale is high and people are starting to engage. It takes more than 3 months to build a high efficient team, but we're slowly getting there. More and more people are talking on meetings and trying to engage in the vision and understand that, oh, if I say something, people will actually listen to me and it might get into the game. And thanks to the retros and listening to the team, we are pretty much on top of things. I would say there are no major things burning in our project right now. So how much time do I have? I've been talking too much, probably, right? Sorry. Is it 1 minute left? Jesus.
You can use a couple more minutes if you want.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I should know better. I'm sorry. So how did we get here? The problem is that the publisher asked for, on the first project, they asked for a rigid plan, they wanted control, and they explicitly said, we don't believe in Agile, we want that. We don't want that, we want you to do waterfall. What they have, after a couple of, on the second project, that publisher asked for a great experience. They said, we want a fun gameplay experience That's all we care about. The game should be fun, and then we can concern ourselves with how we produce it. First, we take care of the fun, and I don't care how you get us there, and then we'll create a plan for how the game will actually be made. What you get in the first case was the Burning Man, and in the second one, it's pretty fine and dandy, and for a game to be fun after 3 months in a AAA environment, that is quite cool, actually. And finally, what can we learn from this? I think if you are a publisher, you should be careful what you wish for, because it might come true. If you really wish for a waterfall project, that is what you're going to get. And if you're a company signing a contract with a big publisher, you should be careful what contract you sign, because it might not be so cool. That is it. 1 minute over. I'm sorry about that, Frederick.
No problem at all. Thank you very
Thanks.
much. That's why we have this Slack, right?
Yes.
Great.